Hello, every brony, it is Alnight, it is Brony time, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. When we last left off, we concluded the first trial and finally cornered Giselle Brett through many twists and turns that involved beefsteak, and she finally admitted that she was the one who killed Dr. John H. Wilson using curare, a poison that entered through his wound left over from a tooth extraction, and killed him. Of course, we never really learned why she killed Dr. Wilson, because she's not going to face trial, probably, because of consular jurisdiction. Cosma hinted that he had something important to tell us, which totally means he's going to die. And, well, of course, they all went off to La Carnival to have a meal to celebrate. So now we are getting into episode 2 of the game. So, let's jump into the adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait!
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. And in cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
My head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait. I can't move. Ah! What the? Why am I in handcuffs? I don't know who that is yet. Oh, that's okay. We had to drag you out of wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You're too cold-blooded, man. You found me then. We found you. And now you pay. Criminal! How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, sorry? Sorry. Now you have been found, it is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how good the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Why'd you do it? Why did you take his life? Mrs. Otto? Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Ha! You pretend you do not know. You are a wolf in the sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs, sure you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please! No. No! Damn. Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? We won't get in trouble. Ha 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 ha! Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. Thought I was going to die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey! Honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in here, I think. Won't be for long. Anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I tell you what. Why don't you write "keep out" or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. I've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make trouble for yourself. Murderer! No, I'm not a murderer! Da, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you too. Oh, those eyes. Just like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. Yeah, apparently Ryan just can't help but get accused of murder. He always just seems to be unlucky like that. It's like the roles are completely reversed. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. He really has been killed, hasn't he? Is this just a bad dream? And these handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside the cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How do you die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me! The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious internal signs of injury then. That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably, that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake up before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must say, I've been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me, too. Trust me! I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. Ugh. My head feels so heavy. It's so throbbing like anything. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, 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 no. That would be impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself? Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it. I can assure you of that. But I never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you could decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then... Then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-sama was always saying the same thing, that he wants to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san. I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. If you're not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed. Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really I do. But it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. For some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me, I didn't do it! I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there is no one else who could possibly have done this. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? I can't take this! Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. Now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free. No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hiya! Damn. She's like, oh no you don't, mister. What the... That was A Susato takedown. Ah, the first Susato takedown. A Susato what? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry, prove it? Yes. Your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to? Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. You expected me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves that I'm not guilty of this awful crime. Well, it's not our badge, and the only other thing we have is this paper seal, so it's gotta be this.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the door? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Cosmo always put it in the place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah, yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Yeah, this being upside down is kind of screwing with me. Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from guest staying in here at least. Thank you! So you finally believe me? I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime. Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. Well, he's not the only one, Susato. Might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Niet! Of course not. Now, back to the corner of the room, and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused, I forget to look around properly. Ah, yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruto-san? You do have a nice tutorial that will show you what you can do, right? I'm sure you're careful to look all around using B and M, aren't you? Now let's investigate all the corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Okay, so B and M for that. Check out this katana. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. Never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Do 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 do. And this plate of food on the floor looks interesting. That's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course, which begs the question of when and how did the plate ended up on the floor? But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right, so he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on his earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Let's look over here. And this pink object is of interest. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. Wait, was that Ryo or Susato? Nope, I was right. It was Ryo. I'm sorry, Ryan. Better nickname. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. That glass is such a beautiful color. Looks like a cute little Nasuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has this sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It's the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Did Kazuma write that before he died? Looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in this village. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments. Was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruto-san. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Let's take a look at this trunk. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese, which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear. Being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. Looks as though the last entry isn't complete. Which means, what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hee-yah! That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Puria. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. What's this? A statue of some god of the sea, although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked, and everything mown down at once. I wonder if, perhaps it was Kazuma-sama during his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Pan to the left here again. Oh no, never mind. I was already on the left, I'm an idiot. This is, yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you could pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to, you're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that the rain spray didn't find their way in, or the seas are rough, or something like that. I suppose, maybe that's it. Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall. Okay, guess tall people are suspicious. Naruhodo-san, tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no, I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. Doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? Can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Sato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect you noticed already, but just in case, If you press space on people when they're in crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh, it's a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long. Sorry. What exactly were you doing on Cosmo's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? It feels like he's looking right through me. Oh, yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry. What? And now, whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It is really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madame. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And, when the beribboned occupant of this very cabinet discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nobody deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution, too. It's shameful behavior, Naruto-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way Yeah! Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Was venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it, you see. What do you think of that? Make of that? Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed. And observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. Ha. God, I was so waiting for this. I love voicing this character. Oh my god. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, so this is kind of a stab at the Doyle estate, not the Tolkien estate, like I said in the first episode. That was a massive blunder. But this happened way back. The writer Maurice LeBlanc penned a novel called that were called Lupin, I believe, and his character Arsène Lupin went toe to toe with Sherlock Holmes. Arsène Lupin being a gentleman thief and Sherlock Holmes being a detective, so it fits. But the Doyle made a huge fit about it, so he literally just took the H and the S in Sherlock Holmes and switched it so Doyle could no longer complain. It was kind of a backstab, like kind of like a deflection. And now they're using it here because, you know. So it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes. The very same. The inimitable actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world, thou Hoto-san. Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have you been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Let's talk with this Sherlock Holmes. So you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what's your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see, you're German? Hairlock, was it? No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Bryant's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interesting articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Ah yes, here it is, The Adventure of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment, I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of the cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in a subject. A fervent glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arms, sleeves, furs in the skin. All these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from his data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction, and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Have you managed to deduce anything about the particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among the number, gaining entry into the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Haylock Sholmes, was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruto. Ah! The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? Two facts, you say? Mr. Sholmes, tell us, please, what two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes, but first let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but where were they? But what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes, what made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling the head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Garderobe may be the name of a killer, a certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least, where he found Mr. Naruto sleeping soundly. Quite so, I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruto? Oh, yes, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all of that? Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? I have no idea what that is. Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. The now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part? Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? A Russian? Sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik. No, no, no. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learnt to revolutionize your appearance as well. Ah, please. I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? What about the part where you said I was returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it, anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take this paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all of his interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back, cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. Couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma-sama's desk, weren't you? Kazuma, ah yes, the victim. Do you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Cosmo was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but... wait, hold on. I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Sorry, did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe, we see the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Okay, I was right. Tragic, and something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading? You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruto-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Look, Ryunosuke, you're the guy she still has some inkling killed her best friend. He's a daddy, okay? He's a DILF, you know, and he's a famous detective. She's a fangirl. And she's simping for her DILF. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely the diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray, be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, nado nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. Ha. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I could read precisely none. So what was all that showing off before then? If you'd be so kind as to show me, I'd be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged. my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? Hold up. Cat, 1 second. Sorry about that. I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring. To the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Okie dokie. Well, we're gonna have to stop right there for today. I got some Christmas stuff that was sent and I need to go pick it up. But, haha, oh boy, so we're accused of murder again. And this time it's Kazuma. And honestly, he was the mentor character in the first case, and Shu just loves killing mentor characters off. So, yeah, fortunately Kazuma-sama has left this world. Susato thinks it's us. We provided her some evidence to suggest that it wasn't, and now we've met Herlock Sholmes, who has given us some more evidence than what we had already collected. So, yeah, super excited to see where this goes next. I don't have as much to say at the end of this one, but we'll continue our investigation next time. So, thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to Brony Time for more content, especially more of the Great Ace Attorney, and I will see you all next time.